While President Obama won't call terrorists radical Muslims, President Reagan took the opposite approach, taking on America's enemies head on, calling communism a failure and saying the Soviet Union was, quote, an evil empire. At the annual Reagan Symposium at Regent University, experts discussed how the U.S. worked to spread democracy while Reagan was president, compared to U.S. policies today. Caitlin Burke has this story.
Around the world today, the democratic revolution is gathering new strength.
Speaking to the British Parliament in 1982, President Ronald Reagan said Soviet communism was dying, and he challenged the West to help spread democracy.
How we conduct ourselves here in the Western democracies will determine whether this trend continues. No, democracy is not a fragile flower. Still, it needs cultivating.
Reagan's Westminster speech stands as one of the greatest of his presidency. At a time when the Soviet Union's presence in the world seemed permanent, Reagan predicted the growth of freedom and democracy.
It was very important both in mobilizing everybody on the free side of the Iron Curtain, but even more important, I was in several countries, Poland and Hungary and East Germany, where I met people who said we wouldn't be doing what we are doing now, and the wall wouldn't be coming down if a leader like Reagan hadn't spoken up, and we knew that there was someone who understood and was behind us on the other side of the wall.
The march of freedom and democracy, which will leave Marxism-leninism on the ash heap of history as it has left other tyrannies which stifle the freedom and muzzle the self-expression of the people.
The speakers commented on the stark contrast between Reagan's speeches about communism and President Obama's refusal to use the term radical Islam when talking about terrorism.
The difference between Ronald Reagan and President Obama is politically correct, and President Reagan was correct.
There was a consistency to Reagan's 8 years as president, and a consistency in his attitude toward the Soviets. Obama's seems to be kind of a hodgepodge. Is that, you know, he's pro-Israel, and then he's questionable on Israel. He's going to, you know, reset with Putin, and now he's pulled back from Putin.
At the 1992 Republican National Convention, Reagan talked about winning the Cold War and the victory over communism, showing a major difference between his actions as president and the current administration.
But we knew then what the liberal Democrat leaders just couldn't figure out. The sky would not fall if America restored her strength and resolve. The sky would not fall if an American president spoke the truth. The only thing that would fall was the Berlin Wall.
The panelists at the Regent Symposium acknowledged that we're now facing deadly enemies, just as Reagan did in the 1980s, in a world hungry for leadership. So what should the U.S. do now to again promote freedom and democracy? Perhaps the best advice for our current and future administrations coming from Reagan himself in that 1982 Westminster speech.
Let us be shy no longer. Let us go to our strength. Let us offer hope. Let us tell the world that a new age is not only possible, but probable.
Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
Two very different presidents, Pat.
I wish Reagan was rise from the dead and go back. He was a great president. The biggest thing is Reagan just believed in America. It was real simple. He believed in America. He believed in foundational values, and he wasn't ashamed to enunciate them. The current president does not believe in America. He does not believe in the fundamental values. He's raised in a different environment entirely, and his mentors have been leftists who don't really love this country. And that's where he grew up. You listen to that pastor he had out there for so many years, Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, ranting against America. Well, Reagan didn't do that. I'm proud of Regent University, by the way. Our previous dean of the Robertson School of Government started that Reagan Symposium. It's taken on a lot of momentum and some excellent speakers and wonderful. They have books that come out of that symposium, and it was very well attended and highly regarded.